Peace and blessings, y'all, in this corner boxing 24. Good evening. How's everyone doing this evening? Hope everybody doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good on this side as always. God is great, God is good, and I can't complain. So, let's get into it, man. I just finished watching, I'm constantly watching these fights, old fights, reruns, rewatching fights, older fights, newer fights, recent fights. Of course, I'm watching Spence and his fights with Danny Garcia, Ugas, Sean Porter, Kell Brook, watching those fights over, watching Bud Crawford and his fights with Kell Brook and Sean Porter, Jeff Horn, Benavidez, watching these fights over, just taking from and seeing what I see. And, listen, Sean Porter, after his fight with Bud, he said a few things. He said his retirement was surprising to some people and unsurprising to others. But he said surprising first because nobody really knew what he was going to do. He was going to retire. But he made it clear that he had been boxing since he was a little boy, and it was just time right now. Not because he was going to retire after the Errol Spence fight, okay? He made it clear also from what he said, not what I said, that when him and his father don't have the best communication, and whatever he did or didn't do in that fight, it is what it is. He said he lost his composure when he got knocked down by Crawford the first time. Okay, is that an excuse? I don't know, but that's what he said. But at the end of the day, you got knocked down again, and you were en route to getting totally knocked out and hurt. He said his father, looking across the ring, realized who Crawford was. Crawford is a finisher and the skill set that he has. And that was the determination on why that fight was stopped. He didn't want his son to get hurt, and that's the bottom line. Okay? He wanted to be able to have his son the next day and his son to be able to enjoy his family and his children. And that's what it's all about. It's a hard job. Jeff Mayweather said that after the fight that he went to Kenny Porter and Sean, and he talked to them because a lot of people were criticizing him because he stopped that fight. And he said the hardest job in boxing is to have your son fighting and you're the father and you're the trainer. He said that's a hard job a lot of people don't understand. And a lot of us as fans can't really fathom that because we're not in that position, never been in that position. So we could be critical and say, oh man, he stopped the fight too early, because a lot of people said that. I immediately knew when I saw it what it was. And I have children. So I immediately saw that, yeah, he didn't want his son to get hurt. Bottom line, we could look for all the excuses we want. This fight with Bud Crawford and Spence is going to boil down to who has the better game plan and who can impose their will and who can take one another's shots. Okay? Now, again, when they did the interview at the Mayweather Boxing Club, most of the people picked Crawford. And the reason they said that, some people they said, if you ask me to give a prediction, I'll say 50-50, but if you ask me, if you're not satisfied with that and you want me to really say who I would give the edge, I would give it to Crawford, even if it's 51-49, based on the fact that what? He's a killer. He's a great finisher. So that's what people feel. Whether we agree with it or not, that's what people feel. But the feeling is based on what? What people have seen. We ain't making nothing up here. He stopped everybody since he's been a welterweight. Now, it's easy for us to say, well, look who he fought, look who he stopped. But you can't knock a man that's stopping everybody. If he stopped everybody in his campaign at welterweight, that says a lot. And if you look at Spence, his last 5 fights, he only got 2 stoppages against 3 decisions. Okay? So you have to look at that. This is not trying to take no sides. This is just what it is. But sometimes we got to take a side, right? We like this person, we like that person. But at the end of the day, it's a 50-50 fight. Yes, it is. But if I had to give the edge, and a lot of people said they had to give the edge, they give it to the better finisher. And that would be Crawford. Now, one thing I don't agree with is people keep saying that Earl Spence is stronger. But that would be based on who he fought and how he beat him and how he finished him. And the same thing with Crawford, right? So again, who's the better finisher? That will basically tell you who's stronger, right? It takes him less punches to get somebody out of there as opposed to Spence. Now, Spence did start out. Let's keep it real. Spence started out at 154, his first 5 fights. He was super welterweight or junior middleweight. And then he went down to 147. He's a big dude. But bigger is not always stronger. Sometimes bigger is just bigger. His body frame is different. Crawford has a smaller body frame. Body fat percentage is real low. According to Bomac, he goes up to 167, 168, even 170. But the way you tell your body frame is like this. You take your 2 fingers like this. See my body, my frame is big. Why? Because my 2 fingers don't touch. So I'm gonna be a certain size. Like I'm 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Muscle. But my body frame is big because my 2 fingers don't touch. No matter how much I try to touch, it don't. So that means my body frame is gonna be a certain way, my body's gonna look a certain way. So yeah, Spence has the bigger body frame. Doesn't mean Crawford is the weaker man because he's smaller. And he might, now Errol Spence has minimal body fat as well. He stays in shape. You know what I'm saying? They both stay in shape. They both on top of their game. They probably both eat good. And they do what they got to do, man. They work out. They ain't coming in looking flabby, sloppy, none of that, right? It's going to be mental as well as physical in that fight. Who can impose the other person's will? It's going to be a battle. Ain't nobody just running through nobody. No, it's going to be a battle. And they both have acknowledged that. So we're looking forward to a great fight on July 29th. Okay, and Spence said, Sean Porter said that when Spence dropped him, it was a little bit harder than when Crawford dropped him the first time. But he didn't talk about the second knockdown. See, he really didn't get into that. And that just was probably just based on the punch. You know, he caught him with a straight left, I believe, when he dropped him, and Crawford caught him with an uppercut. So it was just 2 different punches from 2 different angles. But he didn't say that Crawford is weak. He didn't say that. So at the end of the day, man, you know, he lost to both guys. All right? In different fashions. Same thing with Kell Brook. Different fashions. And they all fought similar fighters. You know? Sean Porter fought Ugas. He fought Kell Brook. He fought Danny Garcia. You know? Crawford didn't fight Danny Garcia. And please, I wish these guys would stop saying they fought both fighters and they know how they fight. Danny Garcia, you didn't fight Bud Crawford as a pro. Ugas, you beat Terrence Crawford in the amateurs, man. That doesn't count. Mikey Garcia, you didn't fight Terrence Crawford as a pro. I totally believe he would have stopped you in a fight. Totally. I have no doubts about it. I totally believe he would have stopped Danny Garcia in a fight or punished him more. I just totally believe that. Okay? So, man, keep that crap to yourself, man. You don't know how Crawford fight because you ain't been with him as a professional fighter. That amateur stuff is over. Different rules, different judging, different point system, different, totally different. Okay? More critiqued. The amateur system is totally different than pros. And that's not even anything to bring up. All right? Peace and blessings, y'all. In this corner, Boxing 24. Please subscribe to the page. Please leave your comments. Everybody let me know how you feel. Enjoy yourself. Be safe out there. Peace.